Hey everyone, it's Fun Around and my name is Jordan. There will be no Cleveland Browns picks in the making of this video. Before this video, you will see images that come up on the screen. Those will be from a data app called Outlier. There's a link in the description that'll give you a 7-day free trial for Outlier. This is for week 1 of NFL football. This is for Sunday's games. I will be making a separate video for Monday Night Football. I will say, after doing WNBA props for a few months and there being like maybe 100 props per game, and then going to the NFL and there being like thousands to choose from, it's a little bit overwhelming, but I did find 5 plays that I do like for Sunday. But clearly there are a ton more plays to talk about, so I'm just going to go ahead and say I do have a Discord. Link is in the description where you can discuss those plays. It's free, just a community of people who like to bet, talking about their research. You don't have to pay anything for any of that. So this first pick, you can no longer say that the Ohio State Buckeyes don't produce NFL quarterbacks, because we have one that we can point to. CJ Stroud, under 0.5 interceptions at -110. Kind of surprised where the payout is at for this. He threw an interception in 3 out of 17 games last season. That's 82% hit rate on the under. He's facing off against a division rival, the Colts, who he is used to playing against. That was just his rookie season last year, where he had 3 games where he threw an interception. So Pro Football Focus has the Colts secondary ranked the 5th worst secondary in the NFL. But they do have a top 10 pass rush, so that could cause some problems. But once again, this is a matchup he has faced previously 2 different times. So CJ Stroud will be on the road at Lucas Oil Stadium, which is a dome, which, we're not going to have any weather or, wind or rain or anything to worry about that could potentially, force an interception to happen. And on the road last year, he threw just 1 interception against the Bengals. So in this matchup that he played 2 times against the Colts, he threw 0 interceptions in 2 games versus them. And even as a rookie, he didn't throw an interception through his first 5 games of the season. So this guy is going to take a leap. He's going to get better, which is hard to imagine, but it's going to happen. He's going to get that sophomore season, 1 season in, and he's just going to continue to improve. So with the way he played last year, with the good matchup here, I like for him to stay clean with the interceptions and go under 0.5 for -110. And sticking with that game, I'm going to go with one of his teammates. I like Nico Collins, over 66.5 receiving yards at -110. Went over in 59% of games last season, and he became Stroud's #1 option. So they brought in Stephon Diggs, who's 30 years old, still a great receiver. And they also have Tank Dell, who dealt with some injuries last year, but whenever he did play, he was just a massive deep threat, had some huge games. I don't think these guys are a threat to Nico Collins at all. I think them being on the field helps Nico Collins, actually, because you can't just focus on one guy. You have to worry about Tank Dell and his deep threat. He's going to stretch the field, and then Stephon Diggs and his veteran leadership and route running is going to take defenders' attention as well. So Nico Collins had a huge year last year, and these guys are only going to make it easier for him to get open. So I checked the 2 games that he had versus the Colts, and I had to double check Outlier. I almost didn't believe it. But these numbers are crazy. So 146 yards receiving in Houston last year. And then when he played in Indianapolis in that dome, he had 195 yards receiving. So I absolutely love this matchup for Nico Collins with one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks in the NFL to go over 66.5 receiving yards. So if you guys could, please like the video. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? Tell me something that you like. There are so many more plays to look at. And also, if you like to get away from Prizepicks, try out Underdog Fantasy, Sleeper, ParlayPlay, or ChalkBoard. Use promo code FINDAROUND11 on any of these. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. There's links in the description. I'll take you straight there with the promo code. Thank you to anyone who uses those. So his next pick is going to be Buffalo Bills Josh Allen, over 0.5 anytime touchdowns at -125. So when it's anytime touchdowns, this is not a passing touchdown. This is a rushing or potentially a receiving touchdown if they move them out and he became a receiver, or gets a ball batted and he catches it and for a touchdown. mainly for a rushing touchdown for him. He went over in 74% of games last year, and he got 33% of the red zone carries. He was the leading ball carrier in the red zone for the Buffalo Bills. He's facing off against the Arizona Cardinals, who gave up the second most touchdowns overall to teams last year, and the 10th highest touchdown conversion percentage once teams got into the red zone. Teams scored a touchdown 60% of the time once they got into the red zone. And the Bills, on the other side of things, had the second best red zone offense once they got into the red zone. And much of that has to do with the rise of Josh Allen and his dual threat ability. So I do like Josh Allen to get a rushing touchdown here. Maybe a receiving touchdown. That'd be crazy. But minus 125 for the anytime touchdown. In this fourth pick, going over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, I still think you're great. I have nothing against you. But I like Mike Evans over 0.5 touchdowns. That's a receiving or a rushing touchdown at plus 130. So he went over in 63% of games last year, and him and Baker Mayfield kind of gelled a little bit. Chris Godwin was also there, got about the same target share as Mike Evans, but when it came to touchdowns, it was Mike Evans all day. He received 24% of red zone target share. He's facing the Washington Commanders. That's still weird to say for me, probably always will be. They had the worst pass defense in the league last season. Pro Football Focus has their secondary ranked the third worst going into this year. I think they're giving them a little bit of a bump because they brought in head coach Dan Quinn, who is a defensive-minded coach, but he's got a lot of work to do with the personnel that they have there. And week one, they're not just going to turn into the best defense in the world. Baker Mayfield and his passing attack with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and then Rashad White coming out of the backfield, they should have a pretty good day, and I can see Mike Evans getting a receiving touchdown here. Awesome matchup for him. And a play that I did find, but the payout wasn't too great. If you want to parlay it, that's a correlated play. If your sportsbook allows you to, is Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 135. I do think this is a really good matchup for him to get 2 passing touchdowns, and hopefully one is to Mike Evans. And then my final pick is going to be for one of the games with one of the highest over-unders. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions over 84.5 receiving yards at minus 114. I know that sounds like a very high number. He went over this in 68% of games last year. He received 29% of the target share last season. And they did play against the Rams in a wild card game. He had 110 receiving yards against them. And the Lions, they do play at Ford Field, which is also a dome. And he went over in 78% of games at home, averaging 103 receiving yards. The Rams gave up the 9th most receiving yards last year, 2 receivers, and Pro Football Focus has their secondary ranked the 7th worst going into this season. And to go on top of that, the Rams lost Aaron Donald to retirement, so their pass rush is kind of a mystery. It's projected to not be that great. So Jared Goff should have plenty of time in the pocket to find his guys, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is his number one guy. Other guys to look out for, someone like Josh Reynolds for receiving yards. And I think Sam Laporta's lines are pretty high up there, but Josh Reynolds could be a sleeper for you. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown gets another 100-yard receiving game here in what should be a massive shootout. So as discussed, I do have a Discord. Link is in the description to talk about these NFL plays, and still baseball going on, WNBA going on, and all that. But we want to talk about football. And as far as a recap goes, I'm filming this before the Friday night game. For the first game, the Chiefs and the Ravens, I had Patrick Mahomes under 290.5 pass plus rushing yards. He ended up with 293, I believe. So it's he got an extra yard with catching his own pass, and then that Isaiah Pacheco, when he rolled over that guy and still wasn't down, was enough to put him over. But it was I'm shocked how sharp this line was. I did see some people get this line boosted by 5 yards, and they took the under, and that was able to hit for them. So I'm happy for him. But unfortunately, the call at the time missed. Isaiah Pacheco for an anytime touchdown, he got that. Should have just taken Derrick Henry anytime touchdown as well. That was like the biggest play of the night for everyone, and that hit quickly. But I had mentioned Pacheco. It scared me a little bit. Definitely should have been forward progress. I think the whistle should have been blown. They let that go on for a little bit longer than usual. And then game total 46.5. I took the under. It ended up at 47. So that one was super sharp. I did see that one get bumped up to 48.5. Some people took 47.5 on the under. So if you were able to get the under on that 1 point, you would have hit. So I do know some people who just took a little bit higher on those unders, and they did hit. So overall for the first game, the reads were there. I'm just shocked how sharp those lines were. I hope you have a great first week 1 with your betting. God bless you. It's fun around. My name is Jordan. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.